Taco, you let me know when we're ready.
Oh, we're ready. We're ready, buddy. Oh yeah.
Are you?
Oh
Are
yeah,
we
I'm
in?
ready.
Are we
We're
doing
in.
it?
We're doing
Is
it.
it happening?
It's
Have you
happening.
found Dad yet? Is he
We
okay?
don't know. Barry just up and disappeared. Yeah.
He's just wandering his basement trying to find this thing called YouTube.
He can't find YouTube. Yeah.
Do we seriously know where Barry is? He knows we're doing this, right? He knows.
I hope so. Yeah.
Has Barry been celebrating all day because of the lineup?
Speaking of celebrating.
Oh God, here we go. How many of the 99 pack? Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Lord Taco. Welcome to the live show, the What Podcast, on the greatest day of the year. Now that we've had some time to reflect and call all of our friends and make all of our plans. Love to hear what you have to say on the comments. In the comments, let us know what you think. Happy Bonnaroo. Happy Bonnaroo to you and yours. Yeah, happy Roo to you, buddy. Are you now that you've given it some time, have you changed any thoughts, any feelings from this morning? And for those who have not watched or listened, what were your thoughts initially of the lineup?
I loved it. Of course, the thing was, what we got was a press release. So we got a Word document that just had, names in a list.
What a tough life. Tough gig.
Well, but now,
How dare you have to read? I need colors,
but now it's on a poster. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's even better in poster form.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, yeah, I mean, I won't lie to you. It is it's much easier when I have bright shining lights and colors and clever little designs to help me navigate my Bonnaroo lineup. Today is special because not only are you involved in it, fan and friend of the What Podcast, but also we have a couple of very special guests, one including Bryan Benson. I don't know if you recognize the name, but Bryan Benson's been on the show before with Steven. These are the two guys that you can thank for the Bonnaroo lineup. And we haven't talked to Bryan since the moment he got to show off the 2020 lineup. He got to say, I was the guy that did that 2020 lineup. And luckily for us, we have him back. Now, the problem is, Taco, the last time we had him on the show, we never really got the 2020 lineup.
Yeah. Do we really want to risk it again? I don't know.
Do you think he's the black cloud that hangs over everybody?
I hope not.
So Bryan's going to share his perspective and his thoughts on how this lineup came to be. I'm really, really excited to talk about them. What I've always noticed about these guys is, Taco, is that they really love talking about the lineup when they really are proud of the lineup.
Yeah.
They really
you think
like
he's proud of this
off.
one? Yeah.
It's like when you buy a new car. It's like when Don Draper buys that new Buick and he's just ready to drive around the neighborhood. And then after that, we'll have Ben from Consequence of Sound, Consequence Podcast Network, Consequence.net. So Ben is the editor. I can't remember what Ben's actual...
I think he's the editor. He's actually... I think we're going to have him first, right? Because you told him 6:05.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because he's waiting. Yeah.
Oh, Ben's waiting now?
Yeah.
Well, as long as hey, we don't need Barry. What do we need? What do we need Barry for?
We'll trade a Barry for a Ben.
Ben from Consequence, longtime Bonnaroovian, right? I feel like this is not his first go around in the Bonnaroo world either, huh?
No, you want to bring him in?
Yeah, let's bring him in. It's like the Merv Griffin show. Hit the music.
Come on down.
Hit it, Paul. Look at this. Welcome into our YouTube channel. Ben,
hey, Ben,
how are you, my friend?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Doing super. Nice to see you, man. How are you?
Great. It's good to see you guys. Great to be a part of this thing after running point on it for Consequence for so long.
Okay, before we get too far down the road here, tell us what you do and all of the things you operate in Consequence.
Cool. I am editor.
Except for having a really good... By the way, we got young Barry Quarter's hair with us right now, Lord Taco. Have you noticed it? Good hair, my friend.
Very time traveled.
Yeah, I'm editorial director at Consequence. I've been with the publication for going on 11 years now.
Whoa.
I started way at the bottom as a news writer, just worked my way up, and at this point, I manage the podcast network. I manage our video team. I work with editorial, obviously.
But working in Consequence, you have to have absolute love and fire for music, or else it was not really the gig for you, huh?
Yeah, no. I mean, straight up, Bonnaroo is the reason I work for Consequence.
No kidding. Why is that?
Wow.
My first Bonnaroo was '08, and I was straight up. I dropped a tab of acid during Chris Rock, kicked in at Metallica, wandered the field, ended up at My Morning Jacket, which was the reason I kind of went.
In the rain.
In the rain, 4-hour set, saw the entire thing, and had my mind blown, had my life changed, and at that point, I was just like, I have to be around this stuff all the time,
right?
And I had to figure out a way to do that. And my buddy in college had turned me on to Consequence, turned me on to Bonnaroo and My Morning Jacket, kind of all simultaneously. So it kind of panned out from there, that I was just like, I gotta get away into this, and this is how it happened.
So do you remember the way that you felt before you got to Bonnaroo? Did you do it because you were so enamored with the lore of Bonnaroo, or is it because you just happened to find yourself available and you could go?
It was a lot of stuff. I mean, like I was a really late bloomer when it came to music. I didn't really get into it until college. And like I said, my buddy was introducing me, buddy Mike, who might be listening, got me into a lot of music and a lot of the scene, and he told me about Bonnaroo and about what the experience was like and about what music would be there. And then the lineup dropped, and I started digging into it, and it was just I was just excited to see what being surrounded by music fans like that was like. And that lineup.
Where did you live at the time?
I was in New York. I was in college.
Okay.
I went to Hofstra University, so I was on Long Island. And, it was me and I think 4 buddies hopped in a car, a caravan down with 3 cars, did the whole, overnight, day and a half drive, camped up next to each other, set up that big camp. And yeah, man, it was. Was
there an artist in 2008 you said you had to be a part of, you had to see?
I mean, even then, My Morning Jacket was like my jam.
Okay.
Hey, Barry, welcome.
Barry, so glad you could join us.
Hey, look at that.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Well, we weren't going to, so
I don't know what just
about it.
happened.
All right, y'all. Thanks for coming,
Ben.
everybody. Good to see you.
Oh my God. Hey, Ben, thank you so much.
Then
Hey,
right before this started, Barry, God love him, he looked at us while we're in the program that we're using. Barry looked at us and he goes, "So we need to be in YouTube? Do I need to be in YouTube?" I said, "Yes, Barry. Just go to YouTube, start screaming at your screen." Yes.
Then I went and put my black socks on and started mowing the grass.
So we were talking
That's
about
what
how
it felt
Ben,
like anyway.
So we were talking about how Ben was getting into Bonnaroo. This is 2008 at the My Morning Jacket show. How many Bonnaroos have you been since then?
If my count's right, 8.
Oh, you're a lifer at this point.
Yeah, I think my last time was 16. And the only year from 8 to 16 that I skipped was 12.
Well, what happened between 16 and now? What kept you away?
Variety of factors.
Mm-hmm.
Camping, porta potties.
No, by the end of the run, I was back in the in that forested areas that you guys love and miss so well.
Yeah.
Hey,
everybody say hi to Ted. Ted Heinig is in the chat.
Oh, hey, Ted. Hey, Ted.
Hey, Ted.
So, good. Hey, thank God Ted is here. Now that you talk about, Ben, talk about that camping area that we had. We'd like our camping area back. Thanks, Ted. Talk to you later.
I might have to figure out how to get back this year because the lineup is the most intriguing I've seen in some time.
So
and lineup had really been part of the reason I stopped going. It's a lot of work. I work the festival. I'm a photographer. I shoot it. It's a lot of running around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm older now. I've got body issues. My back is a pain. Being able to carry that stuff around size of a festival. Plus, as I work for Consequence, I cover a lot of live music and a lot of festivals. So to get me back down to Tennessee, really had to be a lineup.
Yeah.
Like,
are you in New York
really
still?
Was gonna make, yeah, I'm in New York. I'm in Brooklyn.
Okay. Me too. I'm in Crown Heights. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Crown Heights.
Stop it.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Go knock on the wall. See if you hear him. Yeah.
Oh my God, my dogs are barking. Guys, it's just Ben. He came over. It's okay.
All right, so Ben, does this lineup intrigue you
It's the
enough
first...
to go? You know, with the back pain and the porta potties and the camping on the.
I don't know about the camping. We'll have to see what the situation is. But yeah, there's something about this one that maybe it's seeing My Morning Jacket back in the bill because that'll always bring me back. But yeah, there's something about this one that feels real classic to me in a way that I haven't seen in years. In a way that makes me go, boy, maybe I need to start working that back out so I can make it down there.
Man, people make fun of me because about 90 days out of Bonnaroo, I got to start getting in shape.
Yeah, I'm starting tomorrow.
Yeah,
90 days
Point
is too
is
late,
real,
but
man.
go ahead.
Yeah. It's
Well,
real.
who in particular? So, other than My Morning Jacket, who in particular sort of caught your eye?
Gosh, I'm looking at it right now. Let's see. A Paramore, I love. I'm so jealous that you have a physical poster already, Russ. That's incredible. Paramore's dope. I'm seeing them on the farm. Would really cool. Bands acts like 3-6 Mafia that are so like 3-6 Mafia and Korn are these like crazy like what are they really doing there bands that make perfect sense that they're there, and I love seeing those sets. Kendrick.
I think I hate to interrupt you, but like those are the ones that I love the most, and it goes from Lionel Richie and Kenny Rogers all the way to Alice Cooper and Gore.
Yeah.
It's like those bizarre bookings. They're like, what in the world has happened here? But what I remember talking to Bryan about and Steven about years ago, Barry, is that sometimes they'll see a show and they'll say to themselves, I'm going with my gut on this one because this was just so fun. I want this experience on the farm.
That's
Thank
my
you,
man.
Taco.
And I
appreciate
think for me and Russ, it's Pixies, right? I mean,
Oh,
Korn
yeah.
obviously, but
Oh,
Pixies
yeah.
too. Pixies that's a once in a lifetime. I mean, I don't even know if they're on your radar, Brad, but
Yeah, I know the Pixies.
I don't mean to insult you, but there's those bands that you look at me and
Barry,
Russ
have you
and
ever
go
heard of
like,
the Foo Fighters? Come on.
Yeah, Pixies predate. But anyway, yeah, those are the bands that I'm like, oh my God, I get to see these guys in addition to all these other bands.
That Lionel Richie set down there, I think that might have been during the last year, but it was so good. That was such a cool set, and I'm like, I'm never gonna go seek out a Lionel Richie show.
I know, right? I know,
But
that's right.
you put him on a lineup with everybody else I want to see. Hell yeah, let me go check that out.
So go backwards for a second. If 2008 to 2016, what was your favorite year? Do you have a specific year that?
Yeah, I'm bad with kind of dates and what was what. I think
me
it was
too.
9. What was the year that Yeah Yeah Yeahs and TV on the Radio and
Oh God, you're talking like 2004, 2005 was Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
no.
Really? What was the last time Yeah Yeah? I don't remember Yeah Yeah Yeahs being there since 2004 or 5.
Yeah. They
yeah.
were.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is it. 9
Yeah,
was
I
Bruce
remember.
Springsteen,
I remember
who's-
because she came backstage and she was
Oh,
painfully
yeah.
so thin. I was like, oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
that's the thinnest woman I've ever seen in my life.
I totally forgot
that was-
they were there in 09.
That was Bruce, 9 Inch Nails, 2 Fish shows, Beastie Boys' last show ever, which we didn't know at the time. But
Oh my God, yeah.
David Byrne.
Chris Rock was that year, right?
No, that was 8,
No, that's when he dropped acid.
because that's when I dropped.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Mars Volta, TV on the Radio, Yeah Yeahs, MJMT at like the height of their heightness, Public Enemy, Band of Horses, Girl Talk when he was still rocking it really hard.
Public
Bon
Enemy.
Iver, that Bon Iver set. Oh yeah, this was like
Yeah, that's a great year.
this was my year.
Yeah,
I've
there
always
was-
told
there was-
that. I've always told the Public Enemy story about Triumph. The insult dog was there. You remember?
Yeah.
I know. I got my picture with him, and that was the year Conan O'Brien was there too.
Yeah, yeah. And, there's a lot of comedians. Janine Garofalo was there, and she did the
Say
media.
that again?
Janine
Give that one more try?
Garofalo. I know I did stumble through that. But, I mean, she did the media thing in the tent, and she was like, did y'all see that Triumph set last night? And we were like, no, what are you talking about? And she said, he came out and said, y'all know why Flava Flav wears that clock around his chest, right? And we're like, no. And she said, he said, so he can see how far he set back the civil rights movement.
Okay. Wow. Pretty good. Jesus. Janine Garofalo.
She was telling it all over.
Jesus.
I don't know if that's a good segue, but we've got Bryan Benson waiting.
Yeah,
if you want to
there's
bring
my
him
man.
in.
Yeah, Bryan Benson, who helped book this lineup yet again, another victory lap to take around the old campsite that is YouTube. Drop a comment or a question in for Bryan anytime in the YouTube chat box. Lord Taco will sort of manage on it. Do we have him yet?
Yeah, you ready to bring him in?
Yeah, bring him in. Hit the
Ben, you
music,
ready?
Paul.
Here we go.
Yeah, dun, 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 dun. My man, how are you,
There he
Bryan?
is.
There he is.
What's up, gentlemen? How's everybody?
Good to see you.
Happy lineup day.
Happy lineup day. You are getting email
We got
after
some,
email.
we got some echo.
That's pretty much been my day right there. That little ding sound.
Yeah, I bet.
Can you, do you have headphones?
I can get some. Do I need to have headphones?
Yeah, because I think we're picking up your speaker. Please.
Great.
You know, they don't have these problems on the Roovian podcast.
All right, I'll come back on, Barry.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
All right.
Also, very jealous of that jacket. That was a nice jacket.
Ted pointed that out right away.
Oh, did he? Oh, man. I like that
Track jacket, yeah.
For me, but speaking of, since we're talking to somebody from Consequence, what were your initial thoughts of Coachella since we got you here?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like, festival publicists need to like coordinate, because dropping 4 major lineups in one day was a heavy lift.
Yeah.
Coachella, I think, is actually pretty great. I went once. I went in 2012. I don't think that festival is my speed. That's another one that like the lineup would have to be pristine for me to go back, and I don't think my tastes align perfectly. But there's a lot on there that makes that a really strong lineup for Coachella.
Yeah? Like what? Give me you're a Blackpink guy.
Yeah, I kind of am a K-pop dude. Like, there's a lot. I say, like, oh, Coachella's not my speed. I love K-pop.
Boy, you're plucked right out of the factory of people I thought would like K-pop. You are right out of the...
I got into BTS, and we have this one person on our side who's just like a mega fan, and just being able to talk to her about stuff and learn about that world. I'm in so many ways. And I think Blackpink's great, and I think that's, fantastic for them and fantastic for Coachella and fantastic for the music festival scene at large. That they and Bad Bunny are topping a bill is pretty incredible. The complete other side of that spectrum. I'm a huge fan of Boy Genius and everybody in Boy Genius.
Yeah, I love Boy Genius.
And we all knew that was happening, but now it's like it's there, and we're seeing it. That's fantastic.
And if this is the start of something that Boy Genius is going to do, that's the part that makes me so excited.
Yeah, I definitely want, something, new EP, new album, new tour, something. We know they did. I don't know if you saw. There's somebody drove by what was clearly like a press photo shoot of them outside and just like posted video of him driving by them.
Oh, okay.
Which just sets up like, oh, they're doing press photos. Something's coming. Like,
yeah.
So that's really exciting.
Well, how we were talking about sort of those out of left field bookings. There was one in particular for Coachella that kind of got me. I'm sorry. What is Blondie doing on that lineup? Where are they putting them? In between Glorilla and Waffle Dad or Uncle Waffle? Like, who is that for? Who
is that for at Coachella?
At Coachella.
Yeah, it makes sense in like a lot of places. It kind of makes sense for Coachella because they do have like certain songs that like transcend. But yeah, it's an odd one. I've seen them live. They're great. I'd probably, depending on who they were against, I'd probably check them out if I were down there.
Well,
But
I think that this is a subjective question. It's a terrible question. I don't know why I even ask it, but if you were to look at them objectively, you like the Bonnaroo before Bryan gets back. You like the Bonnaroo or the Coachella lineup?
actually, just in this text thread, me and my buddies, Mike, one of them, the guy who introduced me to music in general, did our own
Mike.
little rankings. I think it's Bonnaroo, Coachella, Boston Calling.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I love the Boston Calling lineup. I go every year. That's one I've only missed, I think, twice. I'm a Boston boy. Was where I was born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got kind of a shakier undercard. It gets real shaky real fast. Like I said, Coachella's really strong, but it's not entirely my vibe.
Sure.
And like I said before, and Bryan, welcome back. Bonnaroo feels like an old school Bonnaroo lineup to me. The stuff that got me going there and kept me going there in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah,
well,
Bonnaroo takes it for me.
That's a really good place. What a great place to start, because Bryan, I think the first question I'd have for you was there sort of like an underground, maybe even unspoken question between you and Steven and the group there? Let's get back to Bonnaroo basics. Do we have you?
Yeah, sorry, Brad. I kind of cut out there.
That's okay.
But yeah, look, I appreciate y'all saying that. Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a focus. I think we have an identity. We want to be true to that identity while also continuing to move into the future of the new Bonnaroo, and I think that balance is really there this year, and that's always something we're shooting for. And I think this particular lineup really nailed it from our perspective.
I remember when we talked to you and Steven, I don't know which one of you, the wife said that she saw the lineup earlier in the week, and she said, "This is really good." And one of you responded to her like, "Is it though? I don't know yet until actual lineup day."
Yeah, the date. It was Steven. I think it was Steven. His
okay,
wife was like questioning. Is it good?
Yeah. So you.
It sounds like both of us, to be honest with you. It is. You're so. Into this thing. I mean, look, we work on it for the entire year. We're never really not booking the event, and so when the finished product's there's always a little bit, in the back of your brain. It's like, I mean, is this any good? I think it is, but who knows? We'll see.
When's the moment? When's the moment when you know? I mean, is it total ticket sales, or is there a person? Is it your wife? Is it, Brad Steiner that says this is a pretty good lineup?
If it's not, it should be.
Yeah, I think it's the four of you guys letting us know. Yeah, no, I think it's.
That's what I was fishing for. Thank you.
I think we get a vibe, right? And look, our community is incredible. I think that. The sleuthing that our fans love to do. I think, a lot of people had a sense of what we had working this year. And what I was excited to see was, a lot of people were saying, hey, if this rumored lineup is true, we're going to be pretty happy. And, I'm just kind of sitting back going I can't wait to get this out there.
Is that something you like, by the way? You like the sleuthing?
I mean, look, I do
question.
because it shows the passion of the audience, and our fans, they're the best festival fans in the world, and I think the passion that people have for this show, it means a lot to me and Steve and Becca and Bobby and Sophie and everybody else that works on this show. It really matters, and we take it very seriously, and that's why Bonnaroo is Bonnaroo. It's all about the community.
By the way, shout out to Becca Castle, who my old intern. She's watching right now. She just texted me. Hello, Becca Castle.
Nice.
I just have to
key
say
part of this whole thing.
I just have to say, Brad, you pointed this out years ago, but Bryan, you do it better than anyone else. Bonnaroo. The way you say it is different than everyone else. You and Ted. Bonnaroo.
No, Ashley.
Ashley's
first,
very good at it too. I
Yeah.
just wanted to point that out. I can't get it right, but whatever.
But hey, so I actually want to start from last year, to be honest with you, with the difficulties booking last year versus this year. Were there inherent difficulties when it came to the pandemic, etc.? We lost him.
Oh
Drats.
no!
Oh no!
Yeah.
We got the. There he
Oh,
is.
he's back. He's back.
Yeah, I mean, look, last year had its challenges. I don't know that they were really pandemic related necessarily. I think at the end of the day, sometimes that you really want or that you go after first, so that brings you to sometimes second and third choices. That's great. But again, the overall breadth of the lineup being strong top to bottom is what we're always trying to achieve. We're really proud of last year's lineup, but I think starting fresh, not coming out of a COVID year, and then frankly, every band toured last year. I think that was a challenge. So many artists wanted to get back on the road and do proper headline runs, and you could see that. Just in Nashville here as an example, we set records in the arena, in the theaters, and the amphitheaters with the amount of touring that we had running through the market. And I know that was true in a lot of markets across the country, and it made it a little challenging for the festivals. And I don't say that as an excuse. It's just a reality of what it was in the first full touring year post-pandemic. And 2023, the touring industry sort of getting back to what we would feel like as a normal year.
So yeah, I say that because I'm assuming that this was a lot easier to book than last year. What are you most proud of? What is either the band, the day, the deal that you made? What are you most proud of that you got a hold of?
Well, I think our three headliners were really strong. I think as a trifecta, it's probably one of the strongest we've had in a while. We've been wanting Kendrick to come back since he stepped off the stage in 2015. I think it was 2015 or 16. I think it was 15. But that's been one we've been working on for a long time. And I'm really glad
that actually leads.
23 is the year that we kind of all came together.
That leads into our first question. We've got a
no-brainer for us.
Oh, we have a first.
we have a
hang
question.
On 1 second. We have a first question.
We got a question from the chat for you, Brian. Speaking of that, how long ago did the conversation start to get the big headliners like Foos or Kendrick? How long has that been in the works?
We wait on a question.
That was the question.
That was the question.
Oh, I think you might be lagging.
Yeah, waiting on the lag to catch up.
It's okay. Okay. This is how I work with Barry Quarter every day.
Yeah.
This is exactly how it works. Anyway, he may not have heard you, but for the headliners, how long did that process take? When did you guys start booking Foos, Kendrick, etc.?
Yeah, look, we can start on the headliners early. Sometimes a year out or more. So these conversations go on for a while. We're doing the dance with the artists for the better part of 6, 8, 9 months. Just depends on the situation, and sometimes it comes together quickly. Some artists confirm quicker than others, so there's some patience that needs to be there, and sometimes we're willing to wait it out, and sometimes we're not. So,
can I tag on to that?
Please.
Was there anything like kind of the post-pandemic and the cancellation year that like you were able to look at an artist and be like, hey, you couldn't do 2020 or 2021. When's the next time you can do it? Let's start that process. Like, were you able to, Brad asked, was it easier or harder given the pandemic year booking 2022? Were there, I don't want to say advantages, but did anything play out advantageously to booking this year?
Yeah, I think in some respects it did. We've got some acts that were on either the COVID show or the 21 reschedule that are on the 23 lineup. Mm-hmm. And again, it's all about getting the artists in the right time for them and for us. the stars have to align there. And for some artists that were on those shows, it still made sense for us. In a lot of cases, a lot of those artists have grown since then. You know, and then naturally there's going to be some that have emerged that weren't really viable options for us in 20 or 21 that are now great options. It wasn't hey, let's just rebook everybody we had. That's not going to make sense. Every year is going to take on its own form. But in a lot of cases, there were a lot of artists that made sense for us to go after that were on those canceled shows, and we're excited to get some of them on the bill.
One of which being the Foo Fighters, and how close is that not to happening?
Well, it was. I wasn't sure, honestly. It was a bit of, me thinking. I'm sure those guys are going to want to get back out at some point, and there was no way to know if it's going to be 23 or beyond. I think that we all kind of thought, maybe 23 would have been too soon, but we might as well try. And I'm really glad we did.
I hate to interrupt, but were the Foo Fighters booked before or after the awful passing of Taylor?
I'll probably hold on that one, Brad, but I think that
fair enough.
It was a conversation that we weren't sure was going to happen this year or not, and ultimately it was something that they were ready to go, and that's all we needed to hear, and we had a spot, and it made sense. So
if no Foo Fighters, is the band that would have filled that slot on the festival poster today, or is that band not booked this year?
Not booked this year.
Got it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think
one of the things you and Steven introduced to us when we visited you guys in Knoxville was this idea of lanes. I think I don't remember exactly if Brad had already introduced it or you confirmed it or both, but that whole idea is fascinating to me, and it's one of the things we've really sort of focused on. And this lineup to me, and we talked about it this morning when the lineup came out, felt like, man, you guys got it. That's my man. There it is.
I got it.
What a professional entity we are.
That's my man.
Hang on a second, we have to open a beer.
got it. Crack.
Have a moment, count for it, wait for it, and there, scene. But this lineup really, really feels like a Bonnaroo lane. Right? I mean, it really feels like what you guys were talking about, especially Sunday. We talked about that this morning, but every day, even Thursday, feels like that you really sort of focused on the lanes. And for people who don't know and they're new to the show, that's where, you book the headliner and then you figure out, all right, if Barry likes Kendrick, what's he going to want to do at 3:30 in the afternoon and 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock and on and on and on. Talk about that a little bit, because it really feels like you nailed it this year. And I'll be honest, I don't mean to keep picking on last year, but last year to me was a little bit disjointed. You may disagree. It didn't hit it for me, but this year is so spot on. Where was that conversation with you guys?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Barry. Yeah, and it's very much how we operate, right? I think that we're always mindful as we go through the process of making sure that from the headliner down, we've got a common thread or theme there that works, right? So if we are going to go for Kendrick Lamar to headline, we want to make sure that the Kendrick fan has a lot to be excited about, and that goes, on down the line. The beautiful thing about Bonnaroo is we're showcasing, a lot of different genres, and a lot of it kind of plays together, but we're always thinking about, the journey that fan might take that day. And it also comes into counter programming as well. How we program the stages when there's overlapping sets. I mean, there's always going to be schedule conflicts, as we all know. Some of the most, conflicting schedules that are complaints that people have, or some just are like, wow, I can't believe that's a conflict. But we really try hard, and we're thinking about that. And so that's why I always tell people, like, when you think about a festival like this, it really is like a puzzle that every piece has to kind of fit in perfectly in the end. And it takes a long time to get there. It's a real balancing act. We're moving artists all, not all over the place, but there's a lot of move. This might work here, so this might need to move to a different day or a different slot. So I don't know if that answers your question, but to me, that kind of speaks to that, keeping that thread going from the headliner on down. And we very much book that way.
It does and it doesn't, because what I guess the point of mine is you seem to hit it this year, especially. Was it just good luck? I mean, what happened this year that made it seem so? I mean, that's what we talked about this morning. I think Ben and at Consequence, y'all have been talking about it, right? Seemed to hit it, right? You hit the lick, right? What happened this year?
I wrote a whole essay about it. That was my morning. I wrote 1,200 words about how this feels like it just
hit the lick, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, well, because look, we're very targeted in our selections. I think for the most part, those targets came through and were available, and we were able to get it done in the way that we needed to. So it's very calculated, it's very targeted, but at the end of the day, the artists have to be available, or in a lot of times on cycle, or in the right moment, not on tour, or whatever. Just everything kind of came together this year in a good way for us. And again, that's the goal every year, right? And we try to get that balance and book those lanes and get that mix that you're talking about, Barry. Like, we try to nail it every year, and feels like we did a pretty good job this year.
You did do a good job. One piece of the puzzle that's still missing, though, is the SuperJam, affectionately just on the poster as SuperJam.
Yep.
So, the really dumb guy in me is going to ask a really smart question. Is the host of the SuperJam on the poster right now?
Probably not. How
about that?
Wow.
I think that's some breaking news, guys. Scoops!
Yeah.
We got a scoop!
All
Yeah,
right.
SuperJam's very much a work in progress, as it sometimes is come the lineup announce. Always try to have that host or lead artist and theme ready, but sometimes it's not to the point where we're ready to announce it. And to be honest, that it's exciting to have something else to look forward to in terms of an announcement. That'll be a fun one once we've got the details ready.
It's a good way to expand the calendar. That's true.
Is there ever any thought to going?
Corey Smith's appreciative of my continued marketing.
Yeah.
Is there? I mean, I understand the marketing angle. Is there ever any thought of going back? Because I remember when I first was going there was no SuperJam in SuperJam. Go see what it is. Is there ever any thought of going back to just putting it on the schedule?
Maybe. I mean, I think that if we've got an artist curator or a lead act that's really pulling it all together.
Sure.
And look, it takes a lot of work. Like for an artist to sign up for the SuperJam at Bonnaroo, it is, they're very involved in the process. It's always been the case year over year, and these artists really put a lot of time and energy into that, and I think they deserve the recognition of being announced as the ringleader of whatever that moment is going to be at Bonnaroo. And what could be fun to save, Ben, is more of the special guests, the those that you might not know are going to jump on stage with that artist or that band, and that's the fun stuff that we can sometimes save or maybe leak near the time.
Speaking of special guests, look, I think that the Foo Fighters show is going to be so interesting. Mainly, we talked about it today or early this morning when the lineup came out. It's going to be the last show of the weekend, and knowing their history of wanting to break their own, supersonic speed records of show lengths, it could be a 4.5, 5 hour show with however many special guests showing up. Do you guys know or have a pretty good impression of how many or what kind of guests are going to be joining on stage during insert show here that you've booked?
Most of the time, it'll come together closer to the performance date. Some there will be mention in the booking process of wouldn't this be fun, or this could be possible, or, oh, this other artist is on the build, maybe that could be something. But a lot of times it's a little more, of the moment, where it's like all of a sudden the week of the show, this is happening. I'm
just making sure because in 2024, when Miley Cyrus is booked, there might be a Dolly Parton guest spot.
Let me jump on that.
That was your quote, not mine.
Yes, it was. But I did notice you nod gently.
Let me jump on that, because I think we asked this sort of at one point, Brad, in our show, we mentioned how the Bonnaroo schedule was so much, it was open. You never knew, you might have a 4-hour My Morning Jacket set, right? And then the last couple of years, we noticed there were 87 minutes. And we asked Bryan, I think we asked you specifically, was that you guys or was that the band? And I think you said that was the band's. Coming out of this pandemic and everything, is that changed? Like, for example, we noticed Foo Fighters and Umphrey's are on the same day. I mean, Umphrey's is known for their long sets. Brad pointed out Foo Fighters could go till Tuesday.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I'll still be there.
And Russ will still be there with PBR aplenty. Is that something that is with you guys, or is that on the band, or is it even talked about, or is that just a fan thing we're wishing and hoping and dreaming, or how does that work?
Yeah, so first of all, at Bonnaroo, we always say we want the artists to do their full show. Schedule permitting, sometimes the earlier sets in the day obviously can't be 2 hours long. We won't get the show in, but for bands like Umphrey's and Foo Fighters and others on the schedule, we're very much leaving it up to the artist to tell us their desired set length or performance length. And we, as a festival, with very few exceptions, will do everything we can to honor that.
Well, that's a very good lead into a question. How long then do you expect, as a fan of both bands, a My Morning Jacket or Foo Fighters set to be?
Well, I'll take the Foos first, because they're notorious for playing, 2.5 hour, 3 hour shows. I would be surprised if that weren't the case, for Bonnaroo.
Nice.
And then the Jacket, I will plead the fifth on that, because if I comment on their set length, it might reveal where they are, and I think we'll leave that for another day.
You don't have to say it, but I think here's what I'm going to say as a guy that doesn't know much. My bet is that you find My Morning Jacket doing a stage show late at night for hours upon hours. But that's me speaking again, idiot on a podcast.
So I should bring a blanket and a pillow.
We've got other questions too
we have
to
other
get to.
Questions.
If you're ready.
All right, I'm gonna have to play quarterback because I don't think that Bryan can hear Taco. So let's give it a go.
Yeah, I can't hear anybody but you.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Next question. What would it take for Roo to have a Latin headliner or artist in general?
All right, so this is based on what happened with Coachella today, I'm sure. But what's the likelihood of a Latin headliner in the future? What would it take?
That's a great question. I think it's something that we definitely would look at in the future, no question. I can't say for certain when that would be, but obviously, if the right artist is somebody that's a good fit for Bonnaroo, we wouldn't hesitate.
How much?
Let me
how
jump
much of
on
the
that.
schedules actually? But hang on one second. Well, how much is this? Speaking of the My Morning Jacket thing, how much of the schedule's actually done? All of it?
Yeah. Look, I mean, when we have a confirmed lineup ready to go, the schedule's ostensibly done.
Got it. Okay.
There will be a lot of tweaks to that, and there could be some, inevitable. I've got to move to this day, or wait, what day did you have me on? I can't do that anymore. There's a little bit of that happening, but I think for the most part, the schedule's pretty much where it's going to be, and we'll get that out in due time.
How much of that?
Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, how much of that, going back, Brian, and it gets to the lanes a little bit. And I mean, it is a good question, but how much of that is we don't have a female head, we don't have a Latin head, we don't have a headliner? You guys have to book the best available that works in the lanes, right? And I think that's a little bit a part that gets lost sometimes when people like me want to talk to you about it. How come this or how come that? Talk about that just for a minute. How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair question. I think a lot of times maybe what gets lost or is a little misunderstood is if you see something that's not represented, it doesn't mean that it isn't something that we were going for at one point or another, right? Again, our job is to put together the best lineup possible based on the artists that are available to us in any given year on our specific weekend. We're always mindful of, we want to be as diverse as possible. We want to showcase as many different genres as we can. And, again, this is the mix of artists that we felt was right for Bonnaroo in 23. And so that's the product that's manifested there.
Well, look, you've been so gracious with your time. You knocked it out of the park today. I'm sure you're getting a lot of congratulatory texts. Just wrap up with a couple of things, and we'll let you go. How much of 2024 is booked?
0.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
0.
How
that
close
doesn't
are
mean
you?
we're not.
Hey,
that doesn't mean we're not
you?
working on it, though.
I know, I got that. But how close are you on, say, an outline of a structure of headliners?
We've definitely got a lot of ideas. There's definitely a structure there, but I think today is all about celebrating 23.
Well, the reason I ask is because when we were last together, which by the way, the last time we were together, we were celebrating the 2020 lineup that never actually happened. But you had said at the time, you were talking at that moment, you're like, we're pretty set on next year already, and like we're down the road with a lot of these things, and who would have thought we never actually would ever get there. Because Coachella and Boston Calling came out today, if you could steal one act from each, which one would you steal? What artist would you steal?
That's a good question.
Oh, remind me of Boston's top 6.
Beyonce.
Boston's
Beyonce.
Beyonce. Boston's Foo Fighters, Paramore, who you have.
Yep, we
Queens
share.
of
Yep.
Stone Age, Alanis
Morissette.
Morissette.
Yep.
Alanis Morissette, yes. And one more? Did I miss one?
Yeah. Of that one, I would steal Queens.
Wow, look at you.
Nice.
Because of the Foo Fighters connection. Yeah, sure.
Good answer.
Anything from
Coachella? Yeah. I'm trying to look at the poster. I don't know, the young techno fan in me would love the Chems or Underworld. How about that?
Underworld, very nice. I did Acid in 2020. That'd be great. All right, so what artists that you booked that you're most excited about?
Wow. Let me take a look. There's so many, y'all. I mean, I don't know. Noah Kahan, I think, is one that.
You know what? Stop right there. Why is Noah Kahan so high? Because this was in a music meeting today in my company. We talked about Noah Khan and we talked about our love of him as a format, etc. But I was surprised, even as a guy that plays him for a living, how high he was on the poster.
He put out a massive record and blew out a tour and is exploding as we speak. So
yeah, the sales are out of control. The sales are out of control. Okay, so Noah Kahan, who else?
Yeah, do you have a question, Ben?
Yeah, how many? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna tag on somebody that I'm excited for in wondering why they are where they're Dire Planet. Them coming back.
Nashville Zone.
We Consequence was so excited about that. Love those guys. Love them.
I love Diarrhea Planet. It's a great band.
I feel like they could have been on any main weekend day. Just scheduling that they're on a Thursday.
We just felt like, Nashville band getting back together, the energy their show brings. What better night to put them on than to kick off the festival on Thursday night?
Fair, yeah.
There
sorry
is a lot.
Your lineup, your question, Brad, but that Thursday bill is pretty stellar. For
Brian, there's a lot of Nashville love on the festival this year, on the poster this year.
Yeah, man.
Anybody else other than Noah you're excited about?
Yeah, obviously
the artist. Come on, just
the artist. Wow.
Yeah, the one. The show that you have to go to. You can't miss Bryan Benson, pick of the year.
It's so tough. I mean,
whether you,
I hate to necessarily choose a headliner, but Kindred was the best show that I saw last year, and I think that him being out there on the Friday is going to be pretty amazing.
Well, that's all I have. But I do have one request. I actually have two requests before we go. First, I just now learned from Becca that what you're wearing, this jacket that I've been obsessed with, is a Bonnaroo's merchandise. It's 2023 merchandise.
Bonnaroo bomber right here.
That
gotta represent today.
In the chat, I'll send you my address so one can be slipped to me.
I need that. I need that.
Yeah, well, I'll take one.
Consider it done.
But our final request is going to be a little more difficult for you to make happen. There's an artist on the lineup named Baby Keem.
Yes.
Baby Keem is obviously may or may not be a baby, but with us tonight,
I'll be the judge of that.
Is a baby expert. Lord Taco knows how to identify babies. Now, you present him a baby, he'll be able to tell you whether or not it is a baby or not a baby. So what we're hoping is that before Baby Keem steps out onto the stage, we're hoping to have Lord Taco's head on the screen saying, yes, it is or is not a baby. Can we make it happen?
That look on your face says I can tell you're impressed.
Send me some images. We'll see what we can do.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the thumbs up.
Brian was like, this is for real?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just spent an hour with this
I booked
schmuck.
a festival lineup. I booked a festival lineup, and now they're asking me about babies.
Now he's doing what?
That's all I got.
Thank you, Brian.
Appreciate your support, guys. We really appreciate it, and thanks for everything you guys do for Bonnaroo. And it's a great day, and we're really excited to get this thing out there. I hope everybody's happy.
Well, we love it. We love it so much. We love this festival. We love this lifestyle. We love everything that the festival stands for. And we're glad that you guys still to this day put so much time and care and consideration into it, no matter what your musical tastes are, no matter what lineup does it for you or doesn't do it for you. As Ken Weinstein said, and we will forever be indebted to him for it. It's never not great. Never mind your musical tastes. It's never not great. And you're a big part of it. So thank you for spending some time with us today, Brian.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for your time, man. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. I got to get in on that merchandise, my man. That is good looking.
What
do you think, Ben?
Good looking.
I mean, what do you think? That's crazy, right?
What, the merch or the
no, just everything. It's how it works. I mean,
I mean, it's crazy how cool under pressure somebody like that has to be, and just how kind of constantly confident in what they're doing. He seems, and he
especially when you have criticism from literally every corner of a musical planet.
Yeah,
let me put it this way.
Face to face on something like this.
I've been doing this job 35 years. Everybody thinks they know how to put together a festival. Everybody thinks, here's my list. Just book these bands.
Yeah, look at my Spotify. It's
here's my 5. Here's my 3. It's great. then this is it. And they don't understand the complications and everything else. And so I think they do a great job. And for him to come on and talk to us about it is amazing. So that's
just
really
as
cool.
an aside, Russ, do we have anybody in the waiting room? Because we had some guests that might or may not have gonna
Actually,
stop
we
by.
do. Yeah.
Okay. Oh God, it surprised me. Surprised me on this one
Oh,
because
you're not going to be surprised.
There he is.
God.
There he is.
Oh my God. May I introduce YouTube, the fine world of YouTube and the worldwide interwebs, to the Mr. Positivity, the shining light on the hill, Mr. Bryan Stone, member of Camp Nut Butter. How are you, sir?
Been to every
Hey, Bryan.
festival. Everyone.
Hopefully you can hear me at least somewhat.
That's not a hope.
You sound great. You sound great. What do you think?
All right, so Bryan, what did you think of the festival? What did you think of the lineup this year? What was your initial impressions?
I think it's really, really good. I mean, I think it's
All right,
layered
thanks for coming.
really, really well.
We'll talk to you next
Okay.
year. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
All I can do is talk into this thing.
No. What are you excited about, man?
I can't figure out what's going on in this room right now is what I can't figure out.
Yeah, that's sort of what we like. That's how we want it. All right, so who did you like on the lineup? So your first impression. What did you like? What you didn't like? Didn't like? That's not a word. What did you not like?
Foo Fighters absolutely want to see on the farm. I've always wanted to. My Morning Jackets, for all the reasons we all already know, is going to be fun. It's nothing that jumps way off the page. It's just layered really well. And for me, I'm usually a get there early and leave early setup. This is stacked for Saturday and Sunday for me. So this is get there whenever the hell I feel like it, and then leave on Monday. It's probably how that's going to work. Saturday and Sunday are fantastic.
Are you a
Sunday's
Foo Fighters fan though? I don't think I knew that about you.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
You like the
Yes and no.
yes too.
I love them, but their greatest hits I never want to hear again. It's that kind of band. So I don't see them a lot because it's kind of the same thing a lot of times. But I think they'll be doing something pretty exciting for Bonnaroo to close it out.
Yeah, and I think that we're gonna we mentioned it this morning, Barry, but I think that of all the bands that we were talking about for Bonnaroo this year, the Foo Fighters seem to be the one that we're all skipping over, and I don't really want to lose this perspective. This show is going to be endless. It is going to be 4 or 5 hours, and you don't know who's going to show up. And I just have this sneaking suspicion it's going to be it's going to be one of those that, Ben's writing about the next day. Is like, this is the show you had to be at.
I want to ask
the minute after.
I want to ask Ben and Bryan, because you said that this is the band we're skipping over, and I understand what you're saying because I've been doing it too. But to me, this is the band that's the glue. This is the band that holds this lineup. It moves it above. I think it's a really solid lineup, but the Foo Fighters are the ones that sort of put it, even though they're on everybody else's lineup, apparently. But this was the one that seems to sort of, that's the not miss, right?
Well, hang on a second. Before you say that, remind me when the Foo Fighters were in 2021. Were they on Friday or Sunday? Because there's something specific.
Not Sunday.
Okay, there's two things specifically about the Foo Fighters show that I can't seem to shake. And this is just not even as a huge Foo Fighters fan, but one, they are playing the final set of the weekend. The final set.
At Bonnaroo.
And it's at Bonnaroo, which we all know shows are just different. My thing is, if it was a Friday night show, it would just be another a great Foo Fighters show.
Maybe.
The fact that it's a Sunday show means that
Okay.
like the possibilities
Fair.
of this could be absolutely endless.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The idea that, for me, Barry, the thing that I think helps them be that glue is in talking about how this is like a really classically constructed Bonnaroo lineup. They do, in a unique way, occupy the legacy and the rock headliner kind of stature all in one band.
I'm glad you said that because that was actually one of the questions was where is the legacy classic rock band?
that's Foo Fighters.
And I think
That
that's
is
Foo Fighters. Yeah.
It's Foo Fighters. We're all older now, folks. Foo Fighters is the legacy band.
Yeah.
You know, it's not Bruce Springsteen, it's not Billy Joel, it's not Stevie Nicks. It's a different tier of legacy, but especially at this point in their career and considering everything that's happened, I don't think they're anything else beyond I mean, they also are one of the greatest rock bands. We've
made the point that Dave Grohl is probably the coolest, guy representing rock and roll these days, right? I mean, since Tom Petty died, and who else is doing it, right?
Had a chance to interview him around the horror movie they did, Studio 666, and he's exactly who you want him to be, and that just makes him the perfect kind of representative for rock music right now. And
and that's what. Yeah, I know he gets a bum rap, but like Jack White and Dave Grohl, those are our ambassadors of the genre right now. You know, those are the guys that are carrying the torch of rock music, like them or dislike them. They're our most accessible. Well, not Jack White, but Dave Grohl is our most accessible guy, right? He's the one that we put out there every time we need rock guy to show up,
He gets the Beatles.
There's a reason.
Yeah, he gets the Beatles. He gets Jack White. I mean, he's the link. That's the thing,
And to what Brad's saying about about Foo Fighters being that Sunday night closer, given everything that's going on at the band and given who Dave is, that really sets that show up to be something truly unique. Even in a season where they seem to be headlining everywhere, there's potential here for this to be something like it's going to be an emotional set anyway, just because they're performing without Taylor. But whoever they get to sit in there and whatever that ends up being, it's going to be an emotional set. And then you cap this festival off with that.
Yeah,
it's going to be a knockout.
I agree. So the other thing I wanted to mention, and I know that Bryan was not going to, and I understand why, but I am putting all the money I have, and this is not something that I know because of a source or whatever, but it's just informed speculation. I am putting all the money I have on My Morning Jacket being on the What stage at about 12 o'clock and lasting till 2:30, 3 o'clock. I think that's as sure of a bet as possible. I don't think they're on the Which stage anymore. I don't think they're I think they're on the main stage late at night, and it's going to be up against all of those, late night bands that you're going to have to say no to because the conflicts, it's going to be My Morning Jacket or everyone else.
Yeah.
It's going to be My Morning Jacket or Korn. Those guys, they're going to be occupying.
I was going to say, when are we going to discuss Korn here? When are we going to talk about that? That's amazing.
Can't wait.
I didn't know you were a big Korn guy, so the floor is yours, Captain Korn.
Oh, I'm not, but I mean, I grew up with them and a bunch of friends that loved them. I've seen them once before, 25 years ago. I just think it's going to be a fascinating set. I mean, they've got 5 or 6 songs that are pretty good and pretty recognizable, and they're pretty raucous, or at least they used to be a pretty raucous band. So I'm just fascinated to see how that works out. And then also the Pixies.
Thank you.
Just for their legacy purposes, I've never seen Pixies. I don't know if it's a full band. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But either way, that's just a can't miss for me.
Well, let me ask you, because I heard you comment earlier a couple of days ago, Bryan, that this, lineup, you were going to go because you've been every year. And so if for no other reason you were going to keep the streak going and you weren't sure what the lineup might look like, that would draw you back. Is this the lineup that will draw you back?
The answer is yes, and I think what you were referring to is when I think I would say my excitement level is just down, and I think that's just because I'm middle-agaged.
Your excitement level's down about everything. Everything.
But
when has it ever been up?
I mean, look at your hairline. That in itself, it's not exciting.
Today changed that a little bit, though.
That's
I have
question.
been, I've got my board highlighted and, going through it and doing all the stuff I used to do. It wasn't like Christmas Eve last night like it used to be. This kind of brought it back out of me. So I'm
that's my
spent
question.
most of the day thinking about it.
That's my question. Good. All right.
Well, this has been fantastic. Ben, thank you for joining us. Bryan, I'm so happy to see you.
Thank you.
We'll call you a lot over the next couple of days. We'll talk some more.
Can't wait to hear my phone ring.
Taco, any other questions, comments that we need to get to before we say goodbye and thank everybody?
We had a bunch of questions for Bryan, but unfortunately we couldn't get to them all.
We'll try to answer them for
Yeah.
him. You know?
Fake it. Yeah. let's go.
Yeah. Start writing an article.
Yeah, I'll send them to you.
All right, guys, thank you so much. It's been a fantastic day, a fun day, especially since it's also the same time as Coachella and Boston Calling.
What a day.
We thought that the Coachella thing was going to come out last week, then another day. I did not anticipate it coming out the same day as Bonnaroo.
I literally thought this morning when I saw that when we knew Bonnaroo was definitely coming, I thought Coachella was delayed a week, and then it just wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
and then
that's...
Sonic Temple did too, and that it's a genre. It's more of a rock alternative, but that lineup is fucking. Oh, pardon. That lineup is.
Oh, how dare you! Call the
Yeah,
FCC.
sorry.
Calling the cops.
All right, I just got called out on a text. You guys keep saying the Foos are playing everywhere. They're only playing 3 shows:
Just
Rue,
wait.
Boston
Oh,
Calling, and Sonic.
There's going to be more.
Just
There's
hang on.
been
Yeah,
5 festivals announced. They're playing.
Yeah, I
3
mean,
of them.
look, you're gonna see the Foo Fighters show up in a lot of places, and they may have new music too coming this year too.
And I get the point of the text, but I'm not saying it being ugly. I mean, I still think what Ben said is that Sunday night is going to be epic because it's going to be on the farm and it's going to be Sunday night and it's going to close. So that wasn't the point of mine.
Yeah, if there's anyone worthy of being booked at every set,
Right.
like every festival, and still put
Right.
on a great show every time, Foo
Right.
Fighters deliver.
I didn't mean it negatively. So, but I'm glad this person reached out and you all know him. So I'll tell you later.
I know who it is.
Was it Brian Stone? I knew it.
Close.
All right, love you guys. I'm so glad to finally see you, Ben. I cannot believe you live the same neighborhood as me. Do
We'll
you
have to
take the
figure
A or the
this out.
C? You an A or C man?
I take the 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm right up.
Oh,
to 2, 3,
okay.
4,
So
5.
you're further south than
All
me.
right.
That's why.
Do you guys
Yeah.
not screwing up? You really didn't know you lived in the same neighborhood?
I had
as
no
you are?
idea.
Yeah, no.
I had no idea.
Y'all go get a bagel and a coffee. Leave us alone.
Right, it turns out it's a big city. All right. We'll chat soon. Thanks, guys. Hey, thank you all for joining us, and thanks for enjoying the the love of Bonnaroo.
This
Love
is
you
great.
guys.
This is really
Love you
great. Yeah.
guys.
And stay tuned. I'm gonna go live on Twitch here later tonight.
Hell yeah.
so-
Oh, what
Well,
what
that's
game
really-
are you playing?
That's really the
Uh,
headliner. How many blue hair girls are you chasing? How many?
Go save a blue-haired mother.
I'll play more Earthbound, but if we want to talk Bonnaroo, maybe we'll do that too. So.
Oh my god.
This man lives the most fat. This
Thursday, the Stone Area Podcast. I'll talk more Bonnaroo.
All right,
the
bye.
Stone
Gotta
Runner
go.
podcast.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Love you. Bye.
Thanks, all.
Bye, everybody. See ya.
All right. See y'all later. Oh, it's just me. Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for coming out, and we'll talk to you soon.